back to part 2 of our Zeus Brotherhood lot. It's technically the Order of Zeus, but hey, I needed to get a Z in. We're allowing me to have this. So, fun fact just about this, right as I finished decorating, my game actually crashed, so I had to rebuild all of this, so if you happen to see excuse me. I feel like I have hiccups, but not, I don't know. But if you happen to see screenshots, like, some things are a little bit different because I just had to redo it basically from scratch. I'm not happy about it, but that is the reality of things. So my main focus was really to get the outside portion of the lot decorated. That is part of the challenge, is the shell. I'm not worrying about the interiors. I mean, I'm gonna have to worry about the interior for this specific lot because this is the next lot in my rotation, which is why I chose to build it next. But I'm not worrying about them right now. Like, if I feel like going fancy, it'll be fancy. If I don't feel like being fancy, I'm just gonna chuck some beds and a stove and just call it good. I did decide pretty early on, I think you saw I moved the gate to the other side of the lot and I put like some tiles like it's going somewhere. They are gonna have a community lot that they own. It's gonna be right next door. That will be like where the winery is, where like the working part of the monastery is, because they've always kind of had a farm type thing going on. That will be exclusively managed by the lay brothers. The garden that I'm putting down here I don't think is going to be accessible, which is unfortunate, but it looks really pretty, and this was really for aesthetic purposes anyways, so I'm not mad about that. But it's meant to be kind of a medicinal garden for the most part, so spices, herbs, that kind of thing. It's going to be a minute or two of me placing those. One of the changes that I made that you're not going to see is originally I placed 2 big statues of Talos in the front, and when I redid this portion of the decorating, I actually decided to make one side of the lot, like, I don't know what the equivalent, the medieval equivalent for parking is, but it's like the little bar where you can tie up your horse, and then I put a horse there because it made me laugh. Fun fact, I recorded this while watching a new show that I found on Discovery Plus that I really, really want to love. Like, it is 2 of my special interests where it's like home decorating, but it's also history. It's called Houses with History. I really want to love it, but I just don't. And I think it's just because a lot of the jokes just seem very forced and a little bit flat, and I get it, that's the genre that they're in. That is Home and Garden Network type of shows are all kind of like that. It's a little cringy for me though. I can't handle cringe. And so when there's like awkward moments, I'm like, oh god, I can't, I want to hide under my desk. And I'm kind of hate watching it at this point because the homes are really beautiful and they're doing an amazing thing. They're buying all these old, mostly Eastern, probably Northeastern style homes, so like the Cape Cods. I think mostly they've been in Maine. I can't remember exactly where they've been, but they basically buy homes that are probably going to get torn down if anybody else buys them, and they restore them with kind of a modern edge to it, but they try to keep all the historical details that they can. And I'm really passionate about history and about restored homes. I think they're amazing. I think people should continue to do that. Tearing things down and replacing them with stucco wood frame monstrosities is horrific. Very common in the West Coast, but horrific. And yeah, I just appreciate older homes a little bit more. You actually don't get those types of homes at all, really. The further west you go, especially where I live, which is basically the sun, you don't get a lot of older, like, Victorian style homes. The earliest you get is 1800s, but even then, I don't think I've seen maybe a few brick homes, but really not, like, it makes me so sad because I follow, like, all the old house, like, real estate websites and stuff, and they always have, like, in my opinion, really cheap historical homes. And yes, I get that heating them is a pain, but I don't care. And if my body would be at all accepting of cold weather, I would move. But unfortunately, I am a lizard. I cannot handle the cold even slightly. It's like in the 60s, 70s during the day where I'm at right now, and I have my heater on. because I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and part of that is my body doesn't thermoregulate, so if I get cold, the only way that I'm going to get warm is if I'm like wrapped up in a heating blanket or take a shower. And it's annoying, but that's reality. I'm also allergic to a lot of plants. That's why I lived in Montana for a number of years. Pretty much was allergic to everything there, and so I was miserable and had sinus infections pretty much every week. Like, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week I would just be out with a sinus infection because I couldn't function, which is why I moved to the desert. Which has its own issues, but I prefer it. So you can see I'm kind of just grabbing items. Normally I cut this out, but I didn't have enough of a video for cutting this out, but I had enough video that I felt bad leaving it where it was. Not bad, but just like I wanted to show you what the actual finished product looked like. So I opted to go ahead and keep in my meandering through the deco category. I really wanted to include this because I was still upset about the tower that we lost, but I just couldn't, and I actually, once I was not recording, I tried a little bit more where like I put walls and things like that to just try to have that tower look, but I couldn't make it work. So we're just not gonna have the tower. I'm gonna have to accept it. Stay tuned for me putting 2 or 3 towers on the other lot, I'm sure, but we'll see. Which I'm not gonna record that lot because I don't need it to play this household for this starting round. It's not necessary to start the business, and I don't know how I want to run it anyways, so I'm just not gonna have it because the way that I play Adiran, I play when I start Adiran again, because I've done it so many times. I play 3 days, but it's usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I play from start of the game to 6 p.m., which was right after everybody would have aged. And yeah, for 3 days, they don't need the business. I can figure it out later. For now, I'm just more concerned about getting through the round, because my goal this year is to play through 1 round of Adiran, which doesn't sound like a lot until you realize how big Adiran is. I have, I think last count, like 60 households or something, and I'm on like household 15? Which some of them, what's been slowing me down is obviously I don't have these lots built. Like, I got lazy, I just started placing Sims because I was sick of it. So having to build full lots and decorate has slowed me down quite a bit. To the point where I'm almost pushing back the decorating because I'm not enjoying it, I just want to play. And like if I'm in the mood to decorate, like I was in the mood to decorate the Van Allsburg house, so I decorated that. But then towards the end, I didn't feel like it. So like their living room, that's why there's not a video, there's literally a couch and a fireplace. That's it. That's it. Because it's fine. And yeah, I take screenshots for Tumblr and everything, but like, it's not absolutely necessary that it all looks very pretty and sparkly and what have you right now. I can always come back to it. I can always do it next round. Like, it's not a big deal, and I'd rather do it when I'm enjoying it than forcing myself to do it, which slows down my progress considerably because of the way I decorate. Which I don't foresee ever changing. I'm a big fan of this chaos. Plunk everything down and then edit heavily. I liked putting that wall though on the corner. I am concerned it's going to screw with carpools, but it looks really cool, so I'm hoping that I can keep it. Otherwise I'm going to have to move it. But I like the idea because I mentioned it before. Adiran, technically there was a kingdom before, Gallived, and there was a civil war, it was destroyed, it was lots of chaos, and then Arndt Blumenthal basically created his own new kingdom because he didn't want any of the remaining Kentons out there to be able to claim the kingdom as their own. So he's like, well, Gallived doesn't exist anymore, so how can you be a king of a kingdom that doesn't exist? That was his logic. I don't know how well that works out, but so far it's working out pretty good for him. So this is modeled off of I said in the last video, the Sims Medieval Peter and Church, so I wanted to keep some aspects there, like the fountain, there was a well, but I didn't like quite every aspect of it. So you'll see some editing here. I did want like the notice board, I like that idea. I think that the Brothers of Zeus are pretty keen on helping people, not like super poor people, but just like making sure that the community gets what it needs. haven't developed them enough as a religion to really like super say these are their core ethos, but I like the idea that they are helpful in that way, but I don't know. I don't know why I wanted to put building blocks there, but because I hadn't built the other lot, it kind of amused me. Also, I removed that dwarven statue. I added there, honestly, because it looks vaguely dirty and it's perfect for the Zeus brothers, but it was a bit much. It was a bit much, it didn't fit with the aesthetic with the quartz and everything, so I do change that. I don't change it in the video, I changed it when I rebuilt it. I couldn't help myself though, I did put the rabbits. I did, and I regret nothing. Wow, there really wasn't that much video. I can see we got a couple more minutes left here, but yeah, this is me just kind of editing, tossing things here or there. Actually removed quite a bit. It's pretty sparse. Also, all the landscaping, that's another thing that I didn't redo because I was worried that maybe that's why it had crashed before. It was like I just went too heavy on the landscaping, so all the landscaping that's actually going to be in the lot is going to be the trees. You're going to watch me put down a whole bunch of landscaping and it's going to look really, really pretty. I am not actually going to have that on the lot as it looks, but it's pretty for a video, right? I also put an additional light thing where those little posts with the armor head thing on them, I put like a different light thing so they look pretty cool, but yep. It's just me wanting to put light and actually put some thought into the lighting. I don't always turn the lights off to do lighting, which I should, because then I would know what needs more or less lighting, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better. I love these lights. They are not at all appropriate. I don't care. They're plumb bobs, therefore they technically are always appropriate. I didn't want to put too many lights, I just wanted enough so, you know, you could see. But it's not like people are supposed to be wandering around at night anyways. And I wanted the Talos statue to be really lit up as well. And then I put these little candles in the garden. Is it a safety hazard? Probably. Is it aesthetically pleasing? Absolutely. And this is The Sims. Shockingly enough, this won't cause a fire. Having a rug by your fireplace will, but this? No! Totally cool. I wanted to put more light over here too, but I ended up putting that. Later on I ended up removing it when I rebuilt, but I wanted this part to be lit up a little bit more, because this section, this back area, is meant to be like not a place so much where visitors can come, but also designed with that in mind if they decide to wander around. Not a pleasure garden, but definitely not a working space. I don't know. I really do need to sit down and like actually hammer out the religious details of my game, but I gotta be in the right mood to do it. And I have not been in the mood to figure that stuff out. I figured out a few things, but yeah, it's hard. Just like naming things is impossibly hard. I had the worst time naming this kingdom, like when I realized that we were gonna, okay, we rolled the random and concurrent scenario of a civil war. Cool, what are we gonna do? Like, figuring that all out was a nightmare. It was fun, but like a lot of it was just planning, which loses me sometimes, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. But it came up with an interesting storyline, and I'm having fun following it to kind of its natural conclusion. It also made it so when I had to rebuild the neighborhood, I wasn't so mad about it, because I was like, well, I was gonna have to do it anyways. Like, there was a war. So I would have had to overhaul everything. So the fact that the neighborhood was a little glitchy, I'm like, eh, let's just do this all at once. We're just about done. I'm gonna keep putting plants down, but otherwise this is pretty much how the lot looks. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments below if you have any good ideas or tips in terms of like religion building. Definitely would love to hear those. And also what you think about the Zeus brothers and their efforts to reform their reputation, because that is definitely in the works. They don't want to be seen as the party monastery, but they still kind of are. And yeah, so thank you guys so much for joining. Definitely give it a like if you enjoyed this video. Comment if you feel like it. Subscribe if you feel like listening to me ramble more. I do it a lot. And you'll also hear Judy in the background, which is always fun. And I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.